Have you ever wondered if there are strange creatures and planet-sized monsters in space and then fall asleep while doing that? Well, guess what? You can use this video for the exact same thing. So here are 10 strange and weird space-based SCP creatures and entities. Let's get to it. We begin here with SCP-1795, nicknamed the Star Womb because calling it space uterus apparently wasn't scientific enough. It is basically a bunch of giant floating hard things in space with emphasis on giant, as in 50,000 kilometers across giant. Imagine a biological blob the size of several Earths mashed together, just lazily drifting through the void. These things look like someone stole Galactus's heart, but upon closer inspection they are actually made of some material that is neither biological nor synthetic. So basically science threw up its hands and said, we have no idea what it is. Now here's where it gets weird. These floating blobs seem to know somehow where new stars will form before the stars actually exist, and then, like it's no big deal, they build a planet. So essentially they're lonely, undying cosmic midwives. 500 million of these, and they create beautiful habitable planets and then just float off alone again in search for the new episode. Then number 2, we have the SCP-1548, which is also called the Hateful Star, and was basically the universe's attempt at rewriting a horror story and then immediately losing interest halfway through. It was first spotted in 1949, 24 light years away from Earth, looking like your average angry ball of nuclear fusion, a star. However, this particular star started belching out radiation bursts that translated messages into death threats and poetic hatred for humanity. Naturally, the Foundation panicked, because if there's one thing more terrifying than killer clowns or reality-warping monsters, it's a sentient star flying towards Earth with genocidal intent. It was thus classified as Keter, which means we're all screwed. However, all the death threats were just cosmic spam mail that accidentally read like a manifesto. So SCP-1548 got downgraded to Explain, which means we embarrass ourselves over nothing. Now here's the ironic kicker. It began collapsing, slowly dying, and in a final burst of melodrama, it sent out one final last message saying, "I don't wanna die," before dying out. Then now we come to SCP-2399, charmingly nicknamed the Malfunctioning Destroyer, which is basically a gigantic killer alien robot that crash landed on Jupiter and has been throwing a tantrum there ever since. It's a Keter class SCP which was spotted first in 1665, and this massive high-tech mechanical monstrosity isn't just vibing in the middle of Jupiter's atmosphere, totally immune to things like gravity, pressure, or even common sense. Oh, and remember that giant hurricane on Jupiter we learned about in school? The red spot? Yeah, that's not a storm. It is this thing's personal bubble of doom. It is armed with weapons based on antimatter, of course, and it constantly releases creepy octopus-like drones to fix itself. However, ET here is broken and needs to phone home, and is currently repairing itself to continue on its genocide. You can think of it also like an alien Terminator stuck in Jupiter's atmosphere waiting for his Wi-Fi to reconnect so it can finish the job it started. The fourth one here is called SCP-3125, also known as the Escapee or the Cosmic Starfish, which is basically a cosmic thought demon made out of pure nightmare fuel that lives in your brain and kills you for knowing that. So if you realize what it is, congrats, you're now dead. It's a Keter class monstrosity, meaning good luck containing it. And it's not just some dumb virus of ideas, nope. It's a full-blown egotistical strategic murder meme god from a higher dimension where thoughts eat other thoughts to become more powerful thoughts. Basically, it's the worst TED Talk ever from the 5th dimension. At first, people thought it was just an accidental idea gone wrong. However, it turns out SCP-3125 is sentient, malevolent, and actively hates reality, especially anyone who tries to fight it. Essentially, if thoughts could kill, SCP-3125 here is the boss. So now if you're still listening to this and feeling weird, don't click off, maybe just forget about everything. Then next we have SCP-2146, which is literally a dead whale. Yep, an actual bowhead whale floating in space, like no kidding. It's been orbiting Earth in the most majestic, scientifically impossible way imaginable, and once every 30 days, 29.5 days, let's just say 30 days, it somehow starts broadcasting bizarre space-themed radio shows, all narrated by one cheerful, multilingual cosmic podcaster we're calling SCP-2146-2. Basically, it is a 30-ton desiccated whale corpse during some open mic night in space. No one knows how it got there, cause shockingly NASA doesn't just typically launch whales, obviously, and there's zero evidence of radio equipment on board, which makes it really even weirder. But the signals still happen cause of course they do. Then the next one is called the Endless Shrimp cause it's a gigantic cosmic shrimp. Yeah, a 2.1 light-year long Alaskan pink shrimp looking nightmare casually floating up in space just 7.5 light years from Earth, like it's on its way to ruin everything forever. Basically it hasn't moved or done anything since we've spotted it, which sounds reassuring until you realize it is over 2 light years bigger than our entire solar system, and in simpler non-space terms, that's like 12 trillion miles or 19 trillion kilometers. And if it ever decides to drift our way, maybe to avenge that weekend shrimp cocktail we're all having, the sheer gravity of it would just rip the planets apart. So now we wait, monitor, and pray it's just a fossil and not the beginning of the world's dumbest seafood-based apocalypse. Then at number 7 we have SCP-2362, well, Pluto, but with a terrifying cosmic horror twist. It's not just that frozen ex-planet with an identity crisis, it's actually made out of organic material. So basically everything was normal until one day in 1983 when a gigantic glowing space jellyfish named SCP-2362-1 decided to bust out of Pluto's south pole like it was late for a rave at Barnard Star. Now Pluto isn't really a planet anymore, it's a sad debris field, like cosmic glitter scattered after the solar system's most violent pregnancy and birth, or you can say a violent piñata party. SCP-2362-1 meanwhile is cruising away at over 30,000 meters per second, which in astronomical terms means slow as fuck. However, since it's not heading towards Earth, it's been downgraded from galactic nightmare to nevermind. Essentially, the solar system had a horror movie moment and the monster just left. Nevertheless, it is a great reminder that even far-off icy rocks can suddenly birth glowing interstellar jellyfish and ruin your orbital mechanics. Then, now we have SCP-4524, which is a planetoid the size of the Moon, except it's made entirely out of human cells, orbiting Uranus like the universe's most horrifying science experiment. This fleshy thing in space seems to have started as a humanoid 4,000 years ago in the past and just kept growing as a ball. Now, it's hanging out near Uranus, of all places. Like maybe it's just another scientist mooning the telescope, maybe, I don't know, just really seems sus to me. Balls, Uranus, Nevertheless, probes confirm the surface is somehow habitable, which is great if you're ever dreaming of vacationing on the skin of a moon-sized biology project. However, no one knows how it's staying warm and livable, though the best guess is that it's using body heat like a giant interstellar mammal that forgot to stop growing. Now we're coming to the end with the second last SCP here, which is the Harbinger, which is literally the universe's saddest space mailman, a biomechanical alien construct launched by a dying civilization that figured, well, we're toast, but maybe someone out there still gives a damn. This thing is like 10 or 20 meters long, it's shaped like a teardrop, and was literally designed to drift through the cosmos for eons to deliver one final bittersweet message to anyone listening, a message of hope. However, after 1.3 billion years of heroic floating with nothing but cosmic dust and existential dread for company, it crash-landed in our solar system's Kuiper belt, which is just bad luck. Now, it's broken, stranded, and silent like a voicemail from a civilization long dead, waiting for someone to press play. If it ever gets rebooted, let's just hope its message isn't from someone's wife saying, "I don't really want to talk about it." And number 10. SCP-3485, the Omega Messia. This one is just a lobster but a bit larger than the size of the Sun. Literally, it's a space-adapted crustacean with a very slow metabolism, floating through lazily through the cosmos like it owns the place. However, don't let the laziness fool you. It's built like an armored monster, like a tank, and could slam through a planet without even cracking a claw. I'm not saying a tank can crash through a planet, but you know the metaphor. Now, if that's not the most passive-aggressive threat to planetary stability, I don't really know what is. Nevertheless, it still drifts around, minding its own business, digesting helium leftovers, and that's about it. It's bigger than the Sun. What else do you need to know? And with that, we end this video on the 10 strange space-based SCP creatures and also entities. Do check out this other video in the end screens. Now like, subscribe if you like this video, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Take care, fam.